Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to learning session. Today we're going to go over Saturn and Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. And what's really important about this particular retrograde? Saturn usually retrograde around 140 days during his stay in one sign. And this particular Saturn retrograde, it's extremely important. His retrograde finished by November 5th. And before November 5th, we have work to do. He started his retrograde in end of the June. And you all guys feel how, our life changed since December, when we start to feel when he changed the one house from one house to another, from Capricorn to Aquarius. Now, first, and as well, you saw my announcement on video. We're not going to just talk about Saturn. We're going to really touch upon Rahu, the North Node. Why we're going to talk about North Node? There was a variety of reasons. This particular retrograde of Saturn, we cannot talk just about Saturn without talking about Rahu. Because Rahu is aspecting Saturn from the moment Saturn moved in Aquarius, plus they both main lords of Aquarius, right? So this is a very important planet, which is they directly affected by what's happened with Aquarius as a sign. And when we have such a tremendous, huge planet like Saturn plus Rahu, making extremely important movement in the sky, which is directly connected tikkun process, our reincarnation process, our homework, why we came to this world to work on it. So therefore, we need to look at this in much more depth and to look at this a bigger picture, But first, let's understand again what is the Saturn. Why a lot of astrologers, came across for many years, especially Western astrology. They many times describe Saturn really is something very malefic and scare. But we need to understand from spiritual perspective, especially from Kabbalistic perspective, there's nothing more important than Saturn in our chart. So let's understand why. What is the Saturn? Saturn in Hebrew called Shabtai, and it's represented by a letter Bet. And if you recall, if you follow me for a while, I always give you bigger perspective. What is really seed? Why creator decide to use certain letter Hebrew alphabet in order to create certain astrological body, or a matter of fact, everything in this world created by Hebrew alphabet. So letter Bet, it's one of the most important letters we have in Hebrew alphabet. It's actually second letter after Aleph, but Bet is the first letter in the Torah. The Torah and the life organism, the tree of life, it starts with letter Bet. Letter Bet has a lot of secrets inside. It's connected to bracha, blessings, healing, a lot of things. It represents Saturn for a variety of reasons. And will creation, when you read in the Zohar and you go in especially the first book of Zohar, Bereshit, after the introduction, you can see that each letter used to come to creator and have negotiation, so to say, with creator. Each letter used to come and say, creator, look how beautiful I am. Look how powerful I am. Why don't you start with me, your Torah? But creator decides start the Torah with letter Bet. So we need to right away understand. So it's mean if the same letter, which is start with letter Bet, and by the way, it's a very important letter. It's part of the letter heart, right? Lamed Bet. So there's a much deeper secret and behind the scene. So therefore, Saturn been created by bracha, by blessings. So the blessings, it's a hidden blessings, which is the most important blessings. We need to transform in order to receive and really earn the blessings, right? Another thing we need to remember, what else Saturn-Shabtai, right? In Hebrew, Saturn called Shabtai. It represents Shabbat, Saturday, the most important day of the week. Is the only day where creation was in completely still and rest. And this is why creator gave us this day in order for us to work on our spiritual process, to give us soul peace and tranquility, and to have a one with the Creator. This is the day when we study spirituality in more depth. This is the day, according to our old books and according to Kabbalists, is the day actually helping us even with our memory much stronger on Saturday, on Shabbat. This planet represents color dark blue, and as well the part of tefillin, the man put on the forehead when they pray, they have a set of the two black boxes, right? One it's put on the forehead, another one on the right hand, and those square box which is put on the forehead of the man, it's actually Saturn-Shabtai. So Saturn is the planet of karma. But it's up to us. We're gonna use this as a negative karma, or we're gonna use this as a transformation in order from this liberation really come to completely like a rising phoenix, to really arrive very strong and to understand who we are. Plus, we need to understand, Saturn, it represents time. And time, it's only we can really use time only in our dimension. It's called linear time, right? In the upper level, there is no time, there's no space, there's no time, space, and motion. It's only in this dimension. In order to restrict, so through the restriction, we can reveal more light, right? So entering, every time when Saturn going retrograde, imagine you driving the car, and then suddenly you decide to stop, and then you need to reverse and you need to back up. So what you need to do, you need to start to look at the back and see if there's no interference behind you. There's nothing, on your way in order for you to reverse and to come back, perhaps to pick up or do something then you didn't do while you were driving forward. So this is why every time any planet retrograde, we feel like things slowing down. But when such a tremendous planet like Saturn is the huge planet, start the retrograde process, it's going to be if our a lot of our plans, a lot of things will slow down in order for us to do our homework, double check, to evaluate again, to really understand, why in the first place. One tip I want to give it to all of you right away is if you recall, depends on your age. If you're very young, perhaps those years doesn't really make much difference for you. But same Saturn retrograde we had in 1993, from 93 to 96. So just try to come back and to recap what really happened, what process you were going through those 2.5 years. I would say by middle of 93 to middle to 1996, even end of the 1996. So this is why we always can come back. But at the time, we didn't have the same situation with Rahu. Now it's much stronger because we have really Rahu aspecting the Saturn. And each of us need to understand how they both, interconnected with each other. Right. So another thing I want us to understand, we need to consider the place of as well. We need to understand the place we live. For example, if we live in a country which is the country economically right now going through a lot of challenges, or perhaps we live not in a quiet environment, demographically it's really important. So each of us need to understand as well, when you study astrology, when you look at your chart, when you listen to other astrologers explain or do certain predictions or try to explain on sign, a rising or moon, it's very it's not black and white, because it cannot apply equally to someone who live in a country which is fully developed and there's no war zone. There's every country going through right now economical difficulties, but if you live in a country when you have a clean water, when you have a roof on your head, when there's law intact, it's a different response. But if you live with a country which is going through right now, through a huge rehabilitation process, I would say, it's going through maybe a war zone, or maybe your country where you live right now really missing some basic things. So therefore, your homework for Saturn Rahu is going to be even deep. Why? Because we're all part of the collective consciousness. We're all part of the collective city we live in. We're even part of the collective street we with. If you're part of the big company, so your karma right away share with your company too. You understand? So you need to really grow with your understanding of astrology. It's never black and white. It's not like, everyone going to be late to the plane when the Mercury retrograde or when Saturn retrograde in your third house. You will need to rebook your plane 5 times, which is this is normal thing, right? But perhaps you're not in plan. So you need to understand how to apply all of this. But I'm going to generally explain to you how it's going to affect each rising and moon. And always remember, it's important to check both rising and your moon. Even though if your moon hold a low degree in your rising, then your moon is much stronger in your chart. But I still recommend to check both. Why? Because rising represents your aura makif. It's represent your surround light. It's mean everything will come to you from outside source. So whatever you're going to be affected by Saturn, it will come from outside. When you're going to check on your moon sign, you're going to experience everything going to come within. It's your own subconsciousness, it's your own emotions, it's your own family, it's anyone directly in your close circle. You understand? So this is why it's important to check both, because both equally important for you to understand how you behave outside, how you in society. And remember, Aquarius represent every time when Saturn comes in Aquarius, his number one goal is to push you in your profession. Why? Because it's not just profession, it's your place in society. So therefore, this particular process we're still going to have until 2025. So we still have another year and a half to work with Saturn in Aquarius. But what we have right now, we have a huge opportunity, which is he's much more sweeter. He's much more easy on us when he's retrograde. Another thing I want to give you tip, guys, if you open your natal chart, which is I do recommend for you even to pause my video and open your natal chart, because when I'm going to go all 12 signs, I'm going to make some comments. It's good for you to see what I'm referring to you. I'm going to give you another tip what ancients teaching us. If, for example, Saturn, let's say Saturn, in your case, in Aquarius, you're rising in your sun in Aquarius, okay? If you have a strong sun in your chart, and you know what it means, strong a strong sun, it's mean your sun really in the sign which is he feels most comfortable. And if your sun in, for example, water sign, it's right away your sun become weaker because it does not feel comfortable in water sign. But let's say your sun in Leo. So therefore, this or any other fire sign or any other air sign. So mainly air and fire sign. It's one of the best position for a sun. I'm telling you why I'm bringing sun to the picture right now. But again, depends what else you have beside the sun. Maybe your sun conjunct with Pluto. Maybe your sun conjunct with Neptune. I don't know. It's become a little bit complicated. Then your sun become weaker, even though he's in the in his exaltation sign. But let's say you have a strong sun. Therefore, you're not gonna really benefit from Mercury from Saturn retrograde like a people with weak sun. Why? Because when Sun is strong, he's not letting Saturn, taken over. But it's not a bad thing at all. So it's mean you're gonna get from the Sun, but you're gonna have a little bit different approach. This is why it's important for you to talk to astrologer. Another thing I recommend for you to do to calculate from your sun 10 house, so including the sun. So if, for example, you need to calculate from where your sun is and calculate 10 house opposite the clockwise. And this is the house you will have secret, whatever house you're going to end up as a 10 house. This is the secret for you about your profession. Now, if you're going to do from the moon on your chart, you can do the same thing. You can calculate 10 from your moon, and then you're going to see response to your emotions, to your really to your orpnimi, what you really think, and really what is your subconsciousness telling you, what is your psychic, perhaps what is your nervous system telling you as well. Now, this is to your profession. Another tip you can do, same thing, if you're going to calculate 8 houses from your sun or from your moon, you're going to see what Saturn telling you about your transformation and so on. So there's a lot of secrets about Saturn when you come from the sun. I hope it's not too complicated, because really it's a learning session. I want to give you a little bit more than just ordinary, explanation. I want you really start to go out of your comfort zone to understand a little bit more astrology on different level. You understand? What else I want us to tell you? When planet like Saturn retrograde, things are going slower, like I'm told you, much slower, right? And the time, Saturn represent time, limitations. As well, Saturn represents shoes, by the way. And what is the shoes in Kabbalah? It's represent Malchut. It's represent the low dimension where we all live, right? So if you think about Saturn really king of our world here, because by representing shoes, by representing Malchut in that sense, by giving us opportunity to go to do our work. You remember Saturn, he does not like when we lie, when we're late, because he's responsible for time. According to ancients, every time when you're late, it's like it's considered stealing, because you're stealing other people's time. Even they've been sitting and waiting for you, and it's for you normal habit even to late 10-15 minutes, you need to stop with this habit. Then, because the Saturn really give big lessons for people who easily late, who lie, who take other people's things, who take other people's energy. Saturn really on top of it. So thank God we have planet like Saturn, which is on top of us and really looking in order to support us. He really represents our best interest. You understand? Now, Rahu, on the other hand, right? Rahu, he's really considered malefic, but Rahu not that bad either. Rahu, he's expand our desires for everything. He's like, give me more, big desires. But what good about them when they work together? Saturn give us structure. He's given us alacha. Alacha is the law of universe. Remember, we have 613 mitzvot, laws from the creation, how we need to operate in this dimension. And when we know how to use Rahu together with Saturn, we're really becoming unstoppable. We like have in front of us, like a space station, and we really know how to use it, right? So it's really important. And what's happening when, imagine, you're ignoring Saturn and you continue the way you are. Saturn gives the most heavy lessons to us. You understand? We really need to understand that. And I'm not here to scare us, but to have a healthy fear. The fear for creation is the most important thing we came to this world to learn. Person who have no fear of creation, it's like a loose can. It's like a person who anytime he can he can lose his life in this world because he does not trust law of creation. Again, I want to explain myself. It says that a child needs to have a fear of the parent, but we're not talking about the fear like a parent can beat me or parent don't. No. It's the fear of an awe. I would even use more awe of creation, awe of your parent, because your parent represent the first representative of creator in this dimension. So if you don't have a fear for your parents, if you don't have a fear, then somebody really watching you and watching you not from the place then you need to be insecure, from the place then they care for you, but they know they helping you to develop the best way possible, to be the best representative on this dimension as a creators. So therefore, it's really important to understand, to have an awe of creation, to have a fear of creation. And Saturn, he's helping us to develop the healthy fear of creation. Because when we know there's a law of creation and we apply, it's a contradiction in spirituality, then there's nothing for you to be afraid of. You understand? But still, we need to remember we came here to work with all 4 dimensions. We came to work with middle kingdom, vegetarian kingdom, animal kingdom, right? We came to work with everything was created before us in order to serve us. It's really, really important, you know. What else can happen? You can feel. Some of you can feel that it's really hard for you to start anything right now. It's like you procrastinating things and you don't even recognize yourself. You think to yourself, how come? I used to be such an active person. I used to have like, now I literally have sometimes no desire to do things. This is another thing what Saturn does. Why we can feel this way? We feel this way in order for us to whatever we're going to do our next step and whatever projects we can start, or perhaps we interact with somebody else, Saturn wants us to take time to evaluate, to do our homework. You understand? So this is even physically we feel. But some of us can feel sometimes an opposite, very quick to answer, very quick to make decision. The reactive system, suddenly you feel like you speak before you think, and you suddenly you send email, and then you realize you really didn't do your home to double check everything. You understand? So there's going to be like a 2 different polarity we're going to feel. We need to know about that. In order for us to feel balance, we need to work with cosmos, like I always telling us, you know, because you know the energies, instead of following outwards, it's turned inwards. We become more subjective to things. You know, the planet doesn't behave as he normally behave when he's in his stationary or he's moving forward. But it's such an important process for us, for all of us. And again, I want to remind you guys, when you check your 8th house from Aquarius to Virgo in your natal chart. So when you open your natal chart, and you know what, go to Aquarius, and no matter what you have in Aquarius, because Saturn right now in Aquarius, calculate 8th house from Aquarius. You should end up in the Virgo, and see what house it at. If it's, for example, in the 5th house, or it's in the 11th house, this is going to be for you indication what transformation Saturn wants from you. So not to make complicated things for you guys, just look at your chart. Don't forget, it's not Western astrology. I practice sidereal system, right? Sidereal system, Babylonian astrology, and same calculation as Vedic astrology, but it's sidereal system, direct sky. So when you're going to look at the, you can do so many things with this calculation. There's so many techniques with ancients, but with this right now, because Saturn in Aquarius, you just need to include Aquarius. You're going to calculate. And when you're going to get to the 8th house, it's supposed to be from Aquarius, you're supposed to be end up in Virgo, but check what house. And this is for you another indication where the transformation is supposed to come from you. Okay, it's really, really important. Before I'm going to continue in, let me see what else I wanted to tell you. See, guys, I'm sharing with you right now sky, what's happened today. And today I'm making this video on September 5th. And we have a beautiful Saturn in Aquarius, and he's in the 8th degree. Now, when he is in the 8th degree, this is the degree when he wants us to, by the way, this is the degree can trigger our health in different body part as well. So if you remember when I made video for Mars, when I explained to you, well, Mars in Virgo, he's really triggering our, you can see over here, you see he's in Virgo, he's definitely trigger our health, I explained to you. But same thing with Saturn. Saturn can help us to understand what the chronic disease perhaps sitting in our body and we're not taken care of. So according to your rising and to your moon, when I'm going to make announcement what house, what sign is retrograde, definitely check what part of the body it's can trigger for you as well. Okay, so not further ado, we're going to start right now. Oh, you know what, let me show you guys what combination is going to happen, even though I'm going to make another video after for you. But let me show you what we have on November 5th, when Saturn's gonna do stationary and go. Let me go to November 4th. The reason I put number 5th because this is when he already starts. So he's a stationary, you see. Very important day, November 4th. Remember, every time when Saturn do stationary, it's a very important day. It's the day of exam. So I hope we all, and the good news, it's going to be Saturday. You know, it's my favorite day. And when we have such an important event, Saturn going to retrograde on his own day. This is great news, guys. This is really great news. So we'll have opportunity to meditate, to work on ourselves spiritually, to really collect beautiful energy for the whole year to come, and for the amazing. It's actually great news. We're going to have some ups and downs during this time until November, for sure. There's lots going on in the world. We can't forget about other things happen in the chart, but I love when the seat of the moment happen in a really good environment. So it's mean we're going to have extra support from above. Okay, so no further ado, let's start with 12 signs. I always mention for you guys to check your rising in your moon. And just to remind you, your rising, it represents your outside source. Whatever it's come from outside, it can consider everything which is not directly created by your mind. It's an outside force. And moon, consider your subconscious level, right? What's really going on inside of you on your emotional level. So it's really important, moon. But I didn't mention really properly sun. For Saturn, it's extremely important to check your sun as well in your chart. If you have a strong sun, I think I did mention in the beginning of the video, but for this particular case, if you have a strong sun, definitely check from your sun house as well. Because when you have a strong sun, this transit going to be really felt from your sun even more than from your rising. But if you have weak sun, what is the weak sun? If your sun in a water sign, or it's been aspecting or been sitting together with another malefics, so he starts to get a little bit different energy. But sun extremely important because sun, it's your source of energy. It's a life energy. It represents your father figure, your father ancestor lineage, and it represent your superior energy in this world, right? So it's really, really important. So I just want to mention that. So another couple things, I want to remind you guys, because he's transit in Aquarius, and he's going to stay in Aquarius until 2025. And now he's in a transition of retrogradation. This is when we have cosmic opening 140 days, where we have opportunity to work with Saturn in more personal level. So every time, like in general, when Saturn, he changed his sign it's taken 28 years to come from one sign to another. So, and he stay inside of each sign about 2 years and 4 months. Another thing I just want to mention for tips for you as well, just really remember what's happened in 1993 to 1996. If you're too young, so Saturn didn't really affect you this time, but if it's your second or third Saturn return in this sign, this is going to be stronger for you because it's required from you much stronger transformation. Okay. What else I want us to... just to remind us, guys, Saturn really, his trigger he make us more serious. By end of this transit, we all will feel more strong. It's really required for us to stop compromise who we are and compromise our essence, okay? And just remind you again, this particular year, by the way, Saturn going to be activating during the Rosh Hashanah, because the Rosh Hashanah this year fell on Shabbat. This is such a unique and rare opportunity. I can't stress enough. And just to remind you, the Rosh Hashanah wasn't given just for Jewish nation. It's for all Israelites. It's for the whole world. The Rosh Hashanah was given, because this is why it's called Yom Tov, the good day. not just the holidays. The day is the 2 days of the judgment days. So don't miss this opportunity to study. And if you have opportunity to, I'm going to leave link with the Kabbalah Center. They're doing special connection 2 days in a row. Definitely sign in. And I think it's a small donation required of you. I promise you, your life, you're going to have so much support. You're going to have so many blessings. Because what is the Saturn? The language Saturn understands is the Hebrew alphabet. He created by letter Bet, and he represents Shabbat. He represents knowledge. He represents truth. He represents consistency, discipline. He represents how through law of creation you can really accomplish in this dimension to become like Creator, because Saturn represents our best interest. Even though he's very strict, and until age 36, 38, he's really given us strong lessons. And after first Saturn return, which is when you become 42, a second Saturn return, because when you're 28, it's the first Saturn return. This is why start from age 27 to age 31. You really feel transformation. You have suddenly desire to have family, suddenly desire to understand who you are, what kind of profession. It's very annoying fact. And then the second one, half return, you have in 42. It's called half return. And this is why is better you understand the Saturn in your chart. Is better and easy you will go through transformation with the Saturn. Okay, so let's start with Aries. So guys, this particularly reading, I'm going to accomplish a couple things, and I made it easier for you. So if you're only looking for a specific house, you can see I have a PowerPoint, so you don't have to wander and look for your rising or sun or your moon. You right away can, by scrolling, you can see it. Now, the Saturn return for you, Aries, it's in the 11th house. And when he return, when Saturn transiting as a retrograde, he looks at the 10th house, what you accomplished before. This is why it's called retrograde, because he's backing up to look at is whatever leftovers left in the 10th house. So for you, first of all, Aries, you need to understand what is really your profession. What is your place in this work? And I have to tell you, for you, you're such a trooper. Look what's happened. You have a Rahu in the first house, which is, it's been a really very transformative time for you. You still have until October 30th, the lunar nodes is going to be in your seventh house, extremely important period of time. And while it's Saturn in your 11th house, he wants you to understand your profession. He wants really for you not to compromise, not to compromise your essence, and to really, you're supposed to be happy. This is your birthright, to be happy and to understand why you came to this dimension and what is really your place in the society. You understand? So this is why whatever 10th house require, and like I said, Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, it's all about our mission in life, our place in society, and you get 10th house. You understand? So you need to understand, if you're gonna continue use your fears or other people opinion, you're gonna find yourself on very uncomfortable situation for the next year to come. But if you rise above other people limitation, and you will understand, then you can do much more. And you, whatever you do, you can do from place of happiness, and what you can invest in society from the 10th house, extremely important, right? Very important. And just to remind you, the 11th house, because it's an 11th house, 11th house in general, it's called happy house, right? And oftentimes we work with our, it's represent friendship, it's represent our society, it's represent community, social groups, networking, organizations. It's represent your professional associations. You understand, the 11 and 10 house, they really connect with each other. Plus, don't forget, 11 house and 10 house is the both houses represented by Saturn. Okay, so often we work with our friends toward a great good, right? And we're really trying to improve society, but deep inside, we're not really working with ourselves. So my message for you, Aries, really understand what is restriction represent, why the blessings come when we pause, when we think, and then with the full force we do. This Saturn return by end of the Saturn in Aquarius by 2025, you will become much more serious. You will start to look at life on completely new plasma, like from completely new perspective. An 11th house also governs, foster children, adopted children, and perhaps maybe, in stepchildren, in case depends on your sign. So on your age, I do recommend for you to look at that, how you can volunteer, how you can invest, how you can put more energy in the society from volunteering, not just from the place where you need to receive income. Okay. And guys, the good news for you, Rahu, even though he's interacting with Saturn, and they're really good friends with Saturn, right? Because don't forget, Rahu, it's another force which is represent Aquarius. You're going to receive a lot of help. Just please pay attention and notice small details and what universe sending toward you. Okay, very important. And pay attention to your health as well, to if there's any headaches, if you feel a little bit nervous, or sometimes you can feel angry because you have Rahu in the first house. He's expand the Mars energy. So work with Saturn, work with law of creation. You will see big results. I wish you all the best. Bye-bye. And next one, we have Taurus. Dear Taurus, Saturn retrograde this time in your 10th house, while Rahu, it's in your 12th house. And what's important for you to understand this Saturn retrograde, he is actually looking back at your 9th house. And while he look at your 9th house, he really wants you to understand what is really spirituality about. And what is the 9th house? 9th house in ancients, when they look at the people chart, after the first house, first house is the self house. It's a rising or ascendant. But what important about the 9th house, the next house, usually ancients always look at it at 9th house. Why? Because the 9th house is represent your spirit. It represent how you understand spirituality. So it's really interesting to notice the 12th house represent deep spirituality, esoteric spirituality, things behind the scene, scenes which is happening on invisible world, real on different reality. And Saturn right now, look at your 9th house while he's retrograde in the 10th house, which is your profession. The 10th house, it's your career, your dharma, your public recognition, your wisdom, your discipline, right, Taurus? You're good at discipline when it comes to pleasure. But when it's going a little bit out of comfort zone, this is when you've been struggling with discipline, right? And even sometimes with bosses in authorities, because you in your nature, Taurus rising, you're stubborn. And we need to remember that. We need to talk to you about those qualities in order for us to call them and to work on them. And 9th house, it's higher education, long distance travel, it's philosophy, it's the mind expansion. So it's really required of you, in order for you to benefit during this Saturn retrograde, it's required for you to put spirituality in your career. You understand? You need to work with both houses. You need to look at the 9th house to see what 9th house represent and how you can bring the energy of the 9th house inside of the 10. And it's a beautiful thing. If you think about it, how much cosmos helping you guys, while the lunar node Rahu in 12th house, where he expand, he wants you to dig deeper and to sometimes try to fix something it's not broken. This is another thing about Rahu. But at the same time, he's actually pushing you to expand your desire. Remember, Rahu, in a nutshell, he's expanding our desire. If it really depends if it's malefic or it's a positive desire. It's up to us how we want to use that expansion. So it's really beautiful for you, Taurus. I feel if you're really going to apply a rule of creation and you will start to understand what is the spirituality and how you cannot separate your spirituality from your daily life, this is when you really can achieve a lot of positive results and happiness by end of this transit. Okay, I wish you good luck and Shana Tova, all the best. Next one, we have Geminis, a Gemini rising, Gemini moon, or Gemini sun. It depends on, but again, if you have a Gemini sun, just check on what position it is. It's still extremely important. While guys, the Saturn retrograde and Saturn in this, in Aquarius, he's triggering your 9th house. He wants you to look back at your 8th house and the previous Saturn retrograde when he was retrograde in Capricorn. Why it's really important and why it's really, really unique for you, because don't forget your lunar node in 11th house. And 11th house is the house of Aquarius. 11th house is the own house of Rahu. This is where Rahu coming from, right? So you receive a lot of support. And don't forget, Gemini, you went through so much for the last 5 years with the 8th house in the Capricorn. And before you had the lunar nodes. Really, Gemini, you're such a trooper. Just really keep going, because now you have opportunity to apply the knowledge of the 8th house, which is what is the real 8th house? It's the house of total transformation, right? It's almost like a phoenix arise from the ashes. It's about the death and rebirth. It's about fearness. It's no fear. After this transit, and after if you really learn your lesson from the 8th house, what is really intuition, what is really loyalty, what is really mysticism, how you can apply mysticism to the daily life, how you can use your energy, your meditation on the practical level. And then it's in the 9th house. Now in the 9th house, it's like I said, it's a philosophy, it's a mind expansion, it's the search for meaning in life, it's it's a teaching. So you, Gemini, don't forget, in order for Gemini to be psychologically and emotionally feel balanced, especially Geminis, because it's the only sign represent to people, every time when you learn, you need to share. This is the energy, because Gemini is born to receive the information, because the Mercury right away under the sun, he's the receiving, he receiving messages from the sun in order to deliver to all other 6 planets and outer planets as well in our solar system. So therefore, for Geminis, guys, it's important for you born to learn to your last breath. You came to be constant student, and God willing, if you know how to humble yourself, you can become one of the best teachers. This is why for Gemini, it's constantly you need to double check where's your ego. How? Because you're so smart and you are so you're so quick mover from one place to another, which is it's a good quality. You know how not to stuck in one place, but you always need to understand, without truth, without transparency, without restriction, you cannot understand real spirituality. So I do believe this transit and this retrograde, it's amazing for you. You become so strong, and you start to more and more recognize who you are and what really society you want to be part of it. Okay, so I wish you good luck, Geminis. Next one, we have Cancer. My beautiful Cancerians, for you guys, you're going through right now Saturn retrograde right now in your 8th house, and he look at your 7th house while he's retrograde in the 8th house. He wants you to come back and look at the 7th house, the work done for almost you had for 2.5 years with Capricorn, and you needed to really to understand what really relationship partnership represent for you. What is really one-on-one relationship? What is the one-on-one relationship with yourself? Because remember, seventh house, it's a position of the first house. We look at the mirror of the self, but behind us, it's the relationship. It's what is really relationship with universe, right? It's represent, business partnership as well, clients, alliance, or conflict as well. It's legal matters as well. So what's happened right now, I can't promise for everyone, but according to ancients, when we're going through eighth house, while we understand the seventh house, the house of relationship, and what kind of giver you are, by end of this transit, you're going to receive some big surprises, financial surprises. They're going to come from nowhere. They're going to come from sources of other people. Maybe these illegal issues you had, maybe inheritance, maybe somebody going to just give you some big present for who you are. You will be surprised. This is while you're going through such a skin peeling period of time. It's not easy, especially for you, considering you're the kindest, more deepest people in the whole entire universe. Because to have a sign of Cancer in your rising or your moon, even in your sun, even though in the sun it's behaved a little bit differently, it's showing how much really you care for everything what's happening around you. So just make sure you separate your emotional body, your emotions, from what really universe trying to teach the people and yourself. Because many times we're so stuck and we're so looking for fairness and for right, and to according to our limited reality. But we always need to remember, whatever we're going through or other people, this is the part of the process they came to work here. Okay, so we're here to support them, but not taking away from them their own work. So for you, Cancerians, you're not here to save anyone. You're really here to receive the balance, to understand how to share, how to give love, but on a level where a person still can do his own job. Okay. Okay, and just quickly to remind you about Rahu in your 10th house, in the house of your profession, he literally will make you expand your horizon to rethink what is your place in the society, how you can invest more, but from a more balanced way. And no, and don't forget the 10th house for you Cancerians is the opposition of Cancer, is the house of Capricorn. So this is the whole life you came here to learn from Capricorn, and Capricorn came to learn from you. So this is something very familiar to you, but now it's for real. Now really, Rahu with Saturn pushing you in this retrograde to really go deep inside and try something. Then before you felt like you feel insecure, now you're going to have a more support. Just do it. Just do it. Okay, I wish you good luck. So next one, we have a Leo, the beautiful noble Leos. Dear Leos, for you, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius in the 7th house. It's really important house for you, 7th house, house of relationship. While he's retrograde in the 7th house, he wants you to come back to your 6th house and look what you really learned from the 6th house. Because remember, 6th house, it's a routine, it's our day-to-day life, it's our self-improvement, it's the health, right? How you understand your health from completely different perspective through the meditation, how you can restore your own cells with your mind. This is what we get into. We get into the world where mind over matter, where we start to finally use our power, our healing power inside of us. And this is what is the 6th house. It's a house of nutritions, house of pets. If you have any pets at home, it's excellent. They only helping us to open our heart even more. Is the house of employment, co-workers. It's a duty. It's the house of duty. And many times for Leos, duties represent when you in the leadership horse. But Saturn, he all about humbling yourself. So now he wants you to take all the lessons you learned in the 6th house and use them in the 7th house. And the 7th house is the house of partnership. You're such a loving sign. You has the biggest heart, but your pride, your ego sometimes not letting you to really show your heart from proper light. So this is why it's important for you to make your partner more important. While you're making your partner more important and more loving, this is how you become important. You understand? It's almost, I always wanted to remind to Leos, then, one of the things, because the sun is your main, it's your Lord, it's your main force. He's such a, sun, it's all about giving the energy. But us as a human in this dimension, we came to learn how to balance with this, how to receive. So for you in the seventh house, this transition can help you to learn how to receive from others. And while you receive from others, I always remind, like I said, I always remind to Leos, it's always, for you to remember the concept of giving and sharing. It's two different things. When we give without restriction. And to give, sometimes by giving too much, we turn people against us. But when you know how to share and how to humble yourself, and how every time when you let other person first to shine before yours, because you are already one big shine energy. You come to room and the Leo energy comes with you. It's amazing. It's the noble royal. But real nobilism, real royalty, it's the one who knows how to humble his energy and how to be happy for no reason. Because for you, Leo, sometimes when you're not getting to the place where you are creating your mind and, rightfully, maybe you even, earn to be in a better place in your own mind. For you, it's important to learn how to be humble, but humble from the place not to diminish your desire. You still need to have a big desire. How to work, it's like a tango. You know what I want, but I know how to let it go. I want, but I know how to let it go. I hope it's understand. It's really Kabbalistic concept I'm trying to teach you guys. So for you, Leos, it's really important. In the ninth house, Rahu in the ninth house, he's expanding your horizon about your higher education, about long distance traveling, by the way, your philosophy. But because Rahu in ninth house, he can mislead you sometimes, but making you think everything what comes from your mouth, whatever you learn from other books, it's exactly how you're right. Ninth house can help you as well to understand spirituality from very humble place, from the place of quietness, from the place, not to bring too much noise, because sometimes when Rahu in ninth house, he makes us noisy teachers, someone who will really teach with the pride. So make sure you understand that. And it's the house of teacher and guru. And if you have a teacher, it's the good period of time for you to reconnect with your teacher, because I'm sure you're going through the hard time with any teachers or your guru or maybe father, because guru, Rahu in ninth house, it creates some kind of invisible conflicts and make you a little bit pushing away from whatever spirituality you believe, whatever you practice. It will make you think and doubt, and it's a good thing. Why? Because even you doubt, even the something is good for you, but you're going through doubt period and you will come back again. It's like in relationship. For sure, it's something, then it can stay with you for longer, okay? So I wish you good luck, guys, and definitely pay closer attention to relationship or any legal perhaps anything you want to start legal, any issues. I recommend for this period of during the Saturn retrograde not to do so. And I wish you all the best, guys. Good luck. Bye bye. Next one, we have a Virgo. Beautiful, beautiful Virgos, guys. For you, Saturn retrogrades in Aquarius in your sixth house at this period of time and until 2025. But he wants you to look at your fifth house. He wants you to understand what homework you did with the fifth house. What did you learn with previous Saturn retrograde in the fifth house? Because fifth house, it's all about creativity. It's, performance, self-expression. It's your reaction to things, your play. And for you, Virgo, fifth house, it was like a little bit different because it's house of Leo, it's house of noise, and house to show off in a say in a sense. And now you are in your own house. Sixth house, it's your own house, right? It's a day-to-day life, it's your routine, it's employment, it's your coworkers, it's pets, it's nutrients, it's your health. This period of time, it's more than ever, you really need to pay attention closer to your health, but most important, your emotional health. Make sure if any depression or any self-doubt coming, you recognize that, you go for a walk, you do meditation, and you understand that this limited reality, what we need to go through, it's absolutely necessary process to us in order for us to earn who we are and real freedom. Because real freedom comes only from transformation. This is when the liberation, liberty of the soul, it's such an important concept. And look where your Rahu in the eighth house. And eighth house, it's about mysticism, it's about behind the scene, it's about rebirth, transformation, life and death. And this is where the Rahu right now. So what Saturn does in your case, while he's triggering your sixth house, he wants you to learn really lessons by using your transformation from the fifth house, your creativity, your play, your entertainment, your kids. He wants you this easy energy, this exciting, awesome energy to use in the sixth house. While the eighth house of mysticism provides you a lot of channeling and understanding of true healing, because eighth house represents alchemistry. It represents, healing when you combine few herbs together, not because somebody told you, because after you study and you start to understand the mineral and the vegetarian kingdom, you are your own self. You as an alchemist, you start to combine certain healing medication by yourself, and you create your own healing liquid in order to heal yourself. This is my message for you. You understand, Virgos? And with this, you can help others. By the way, you're going to receive messages from nowhere, from people, from friends, sharing with you about the health difficulties, and you will say, wow, one second, why creators send me right now those messages? Perhaps I have something inside of me which is I can direct people. And this is why this sixth house is going to take you to the next level. Definitely study healing, Virgos. It's going to really, really help you to go through this transmission. Okay. I wish you good luck, guys. Bye bye. For you, Saturn retrograde in your fifth house. While he retrograde in your fifth house, he wants you to come back to your fourth house on the previous Saturn retrograde and see what lessons you learn from the fourth house and how you can take the lessons you learned from the fourth house and apply in the fifth house. And I'm going to give you a couple of really important tips, because for you Libras, it's extremely important to find the inner peace, not to be dependent on other people's opinion, what they think about you, and how you look in a society. You really need to accomplish real freedom, because remember, Rahu, it's actually retrograde in your seventh house and in a position of the first house of Aries. So for you, it's most important period of time right now, because the Rahu in the seventh house, he's definitely trigger anything connected to the relationship. So now, because you went through the fourth house, and fourth house is the most important relationship, is the relationship with your mother, with your ancestral lineage, everything connected to your family. It's your heritage, right? Your inner world, your roots, your lineage, which is you choose in the upper level before you come back to this dimension. You understand? It's everything connected to the beauty, architecture, foundation, your the design ability, as well your psychics, because the seventh house require high intelligence of psychics in order to know how to really communicate with other people, because there's nothing more important than achievement of art of communication with other people. So now this fourth house, the house of nourishment, house of warm, your childhood house of your home, everything what you went through. And I'm sure it wasn't an easy period of time. Usually when Saturn, especially then in Capricorn, was going through the fourth house, he sometimes make us disconnect from some family member who we thought were really close, and suddenly he's showing us really situation where it's hard for you even to make peace with some people on your from your family. But I'm giving you a tip, and maybe for some of you, maybe it's going to sound not too spiritual, but according to Kabbalah and spirituality, if per se some of your family members really far away from spirituality and perhaps even maybe judging you for your ways of thinking, and your own parents really always challenge you and they don't really believe in whatever you believe, your main job not to be affected by other people's energy, and per se maybe not to be in the environment too often. You're only here to accept other people, especially your family, but you're not supposed to be ruled by them or to be affected by them what they think about your spirituality. Opposite, you need to surround yourself only by people who really thinking like you and want to make the same changes in this world. I'm talking about the immediate inner circle. Of course, when you're going to work, when you interact with people outside, you cannot make choices. You need to give your best when you communicate and still to be kind. But for the immediate circle, I really recommend to all of us to have a community, to have a people who you can share your thoughts, who you need to be nourished. It's really important to be nourished by your environment. Okay, so I just want to remind you. And again, fifth house, it's about creativity, self-expression. And for you, it's extremely important. By the way, for this period of time, I strongly recommend for you, Libras, even take some courses like a play course, like becoming like a actor, just for you. Start to read beautiful literature, read out loud with almost like you're performing to yourself. It's a good thing because you need to nourish yourself from artistic perspective, from the fifth house, from the creativity, from theatric, from artistic perspective. Very important. This is we all here need to learn how to make ourselves happy before we can expect from anyone's make us happy. So there's a lot of tools we have in this dimension where we can use, go dancing. It's really good because the seventh house is going to be activated. Take your partner if you have dancing. And by the way, after this period of time, you actually Libras become more happy and more balanced. What's really happiness represent for you. Okay, I wish you good luck. Bye bye. Dear Scorpios, for you guys, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius in fourth house. It's really important transit for you because you been put right now in a certain like a box. Saturn represents square in our reality, right? Box. If you know, if you ever saw when men pray, they put on the forehead, tefillin, they put like a square. This is the square provide us the restriction in channeling for you to have Rahu in the sixth house, and then you have in the fourth house in the retrograde period in this transition of Saturn until really 2025. You're gonna really challenge and understand what does family represent for you. Now, in order for you to succeed in that, you need to look in the third house. What did you learn from the third house from previous Saturn retrograde? And by the way, the third house, just to remind you, it's represent gossip, it's represent lashon hara, it's represent lie in this sense. So you need to really take the best lessons, whatever third house represent. As well, it represents siblings, it represents our mind, thinking, writing, learning, and short traveling. It's the house of communication, and it's house how we understand really um, the communication from our mindset. So, and as well, it's our speech. So this fourth house will require from you to restrict your speech in the sense of after this Mercury in Aquarius, you will become much more serious and you will understand how it's important to control everything what comes from your mouth, and how it can be destructive if you don't know how to restrict in right time. Because the fourth house, your family, your mother, will require extra attention for you. And because you have a Rahu in the sixth house, and the sixth house is house of conflict, and is house of expansion of of your health as well. You will need to check always how is your mom she's feeling, how is your health as well, your family members' health, everything connect to the home. Perhaps you will be pushed to move from your house, and you will require to find new place of living. So it's require even more energy, it's required even more balance. Okay, so just keep this in mind and use these tools of universe providing us. We here not to be slave by cosmic bodies, we're here to control them and to become like creator. And this is really huge opportunity for you Scorpions to really understand, improve your health, your routine, your discipline, your exercise, be sweet to your family member, see how you can improve the energy inside of your home, and use your mouth only for goodness, okay? And your mind, learn more about your mind. This is a really important period of time for you. I wish you good luck, Scorpions. Dear Sagittarius, for you guys, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, he's want you to learn lessons from your third house. While for you to understand the third house from the eyes of Saturn, you need to come back to the previous Saturn retrograde, which was in your second house. So whatever lessons you learn in our second house, because second house, it's another house I called self house, is the self-expression house, in itself the self-worth house, right? Very important. It's a material possession, it's your financial energy, it's your comfort zone, it's your luxury, your talents, and your security, right? The self-esteem. This is why the self-worth and self-esteem, it comes from how vulnerable you are, your vulnerabilities to financial, or you vulnerable because it's more important for you to give more to other people. You understand? Really important. It's the attitude towards possessions. It's how much you can separate the energy of possession, what really money represent for you. Sustenance is not just money. Sustenance, like I said, it's everything. It's the self-worth as well. It's from there everything comes. So if you know how to use the energy of the second house, what you learned from the previous Saturn um, transition in Capricorn, then your third house will benefit greatly. Because don't forget, the second house, what we built in the second house in our early life, this is how we're gonna use our self-expression. And the third house, it's all about self-expression. It's about thinking, writing, learning, and it's really good period of time for you Sagittarius. Start to put a lot of things in writing, because you awesome. You are one of the best. This is like it's annoying to universe. You represent nine house. You represent Jupiter, Tzedek, Keshet, we say in Hebrew, Sagittarius. Your sign represent holiday of Hanukkah, holiday of miracles. You walk in miracles because of your ability, the lack of restriction for comes from your mouth. This is when your trouble usually comes. Many times you speak, and you usually speak from your heart, by the way. It's not like you want to hurt other people, but you still have agenda to look smart and to appear to other people even smarter than they are. So this is why this position in the third house is going to help you to humble yourself down. While the third house, it's about mind, it's about knowledge as well. If you know how to combine the house of Gemini, which is work beautifully with Sagittarius, your fire sign, and the air activating your fire. If you know how to use this time, you're going to become unstoppable. You can be even better teacher to anything you touch. Listen, you can be teacher to your animals, to your children, to your co-workers, and to students, and become better teachers. Why? Because while you're going through all of this, transformation, Rahu in the fifth house can make you amazing performer. Because when Rahu expand fifth house, he's make your creativity, your self-expression, the realization about what is really knowledge, how through the play to be, exciting, you can bring people closer to spirituality. Okay, so definitely use the fifth house in Rahu and pay attention to your health, pay attention to your headaches, pay attention to your nervous system, because when Rahu trigger your fifth house and then Saturn, your third house, a lot of times when it's in third house, people start to get a little bit more often headaches than before. So pay attention to your food and most important, your nervous system, because remember, when we're reactive, we make our body weaker. So this is why it's important to stay in a balanced way as more as possible. I wish you good luck, Sagittarius. All the best. Okay, so Capricorns, beautiful, beautiful, smart Capricorns. For you guys, your own planet, Saturn-Shabtai, retrograde in Aquarius, in your other sign, and he's retrograde this time in your second house. It's very important as well because remember, he was just recently in your first house. You needed to go through so much. You need to understand yourself from completely different perspective because the first house is the house of self-awareness. It's the house how you can rebuild your personality, your identity, your physical body, to remove any mask, anything you pretend in order for you achieve your goals as a Capricorn, how you can accept other people and your own self-image in front of other people, how others perceiving you. It was your first house. Now, this amazing lesson you learn, you will need to apply in the second house, in the house of self-worth. This is all very, very connected, right? Very connected. And while you're going to apply in the second house, you will understand your material possessions comes not from 1% reality, it's come from much higher realm. And when you start to donate, when you start to give your money and your time unconditional to others, you start to understand this is why we're here. This is why we earned all this money, all this possession, in order for us to be able to share, to give to others. Very important. Another thing I want to remind you about the second house is the house where we learn in a very early family dynamic, in the early age, we earned what is the possession, what is really money. And if, for example, you grew up in family with, well, no matter how much you have this, your mom or your dad always pursue, it's always lacking, this type of mentality can stay with you. And therefore, no matter how much you make, you always can feel it's not enough. So now Rahu is aspecting your fourth house of your home, of your mother ancestor lineage, and as well the energy you brought from your childhood from the fourth house as well. So you see how it's in connected. Second house and fourth house, they're very much connected with each other because the second house is well helping you to understand what is the food represent for you. Food, it can be healer, can make you stronger and really healthy, or the food can really make you weak and bring a lot of illnesses. So now you're going to apply the Rahu in the fourth house, whatever connect to you, to your material world and as well the possession inside of your house and the energy inside of your house, you're going to apply for the healing. You will understand more and more how it's important to be balanced and to give love to each other. And you Capricorn, you're very driven people, right? You are somebody who career and dharma, it's part of your essence, public recognition. So now is the time for you to invest in your home as well, to give more. And don't forget, in the natal chart, you Capricorn came to learn from Cancer because Cancerian in opposition from you. So the fourth house is the house for your constant tikkun, for your constant a process to learn what is really home, what is really family, how much you need to give. So this is how it's important, this transition for you. Okay, so I wish you guys good luck, and I'm sure after this Saturn retrograde, you become stronger, and your leadership will have a new quality, the quality of the spiritual leaders, and not just someone who came just to receive for the self alone. Wish you all the best. Aquarius, beautiful Aquarius, you are the social workers and the revolutionaries of the world. You know, you guys, Aquarius, this is your planet Saturn. You have so many polarities inside of you. Think about how the Saturn can be in the same house with Rahu, with the North Node, and how the Saturn can be in the same house with Uranus. All those energies and tendencies inside of you. This is why for some people hard to understand you, because you came from the future. You came already with so much understanding, with so many abilities. You already know how things supposed to run here, and this is why sometimes for you, Aquarius, it's not easy for you to find the mutual language with some people, to explain to them like things which is obvious to you. But this is why now in the first house, it's one of the most important period of time. And by the way, if you have a strong sun in Aquarius, this is definitely for you. Because, for example, I'll give you my personal example. My sun in Aquarius, and it's really in the middle of the river of life. You know, like where you see the man who's holding a barrel and the water coming from it. And I have very strong sun, Ra in my chart. So my sun taking over everything here. And this is why I feel, even though my rising in Gemini, I feel this Saturn return Aquarius an extent like it's my first house. And I know why, because ancients telling us if you have a strong house in your sun strong, he's taking over your rising for Aquarius, for Saturn, because Saturn under division of the sun. The only identity Saturn listen to is sun. This is why it's really important for you to understand now, because it's in the first house. What an opportunity to become completely righteous soul, to really have a self-awareness, you know, about your personality, your own identity, but not from the limited reality, not just from the physical body, which is first house represent, or from other people's opinion. It's your own self-expression inside of you, inside of your mind, how you communicate with you on the thought level, right? Sof maaseh b'machshava tela, we say in Hebrew, in Aramaic. It's one of the songs we sing on a Friday night on Shabbat. Your thoughts create reality. And this is something for you, Aquarius. What is amazing, amazing period of time. So now it's asking you to look at the lessons you learned from the 12th house. And what is 12th house? It's the spirituality from the cosmic spirituality, not from Malchut, from this dimension. It's the spirituality from the higher realm, behind the scene, and the darkness. You know, Pisces represent the black color as well. It's represent the darkness, but so much on the sky. When you look in the dark sky, you see the stars. They can be revealed only because they're in a dark imprint, right? So whatever intuition, the psychic realm, mental health, everything what you brought from the previous, from the 12th house, the self-sacrifice, you know, the almost like a loss of yourself. You understand what's happening here? Like I'm telling you, and I have a goosebumps. Think about, I just realized I never thought this way. The 12th house making you to lose yourself, while the first house required of you to find yourself. How cosmos, how the creator loves us. The whole system was created for us, just to support us to become the creator who we actually are. When we come to this limited reality, and we've been removing our memory, was removing from us in order for us to earn again. But everything what we did past, it's never disappear, and there's no corrosion in spirituality. Everything what you did, what you accomplished, it's also will stay with you. But every time when you are transforming certain things, you awaken, you almost like are opening more and more the window inside of your consciousness, and your higher self suddenly sending you such information, so many tips, then you never knew, knew. But this is who you are. You understand? So praise yourself, like a support yourself, create environment around yourself and the people who surround you, so you can grow together. And look what we have in Rahu, in North Node. It's in the third house. And the third house, it requires for you to try to to reconsider and to reestablish your relationship with your siblings. And if, for example, you have a difficult relationship with your siblings, which is many times Aquarius do, because this is in your natal chart. Usually, it's a challenge because of the third house of the Gemini, and you communicate with Gemini all the time, with the energy of Gemini. This I do recommend for you. If you don't talk to your siblings, reach out, just send message, just say happy holidays or how you been, without remind in your subconscious level about anything what's happened before. Forget about it. It's not going to serve you if you're going to try to evaluate and to rethink the conflicts and how right you are and how wrong they are. It's not about that. Just establish healthy balance energy with your siblings, and every time when you will transform yourself, they're going to see you differently. This is the only way we can change other people toward us. It's when we change, transform internally, and we teach people how to treat us by our own energy, but not by own words, by our behavior. This is the secret, you understand? Very important. And third house, it's about the short traveling. So, Rahu definitely pushing you to expand your desire to travel, to learn other languages, by the way, to understand your local community. In a nutshell, your mindset, the third house, it's about your mindset as well. So definitely very, very important period of time for you. You're going to change even more after 2025. I do believe the people who have a strong Aquarius in the chart, this transit is going to bring you so much awareness. It's going to awaken such a spiritual memory. You never even could imagine the things you know. So this is why it's important to relax. It's important to accept, to learn lessons without too much interfere with, yes, I know, yes, I see. Try to let universe to show you something new for you in this reality, in order for you to see much bigger picture. Okay, Aquariuses, I wish all of us all the best. Bye bye. Dear Pisces, for you guys, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, he's actually giving you lessons in your own 12th house. What a beautiful thing. But many times when we are in our own environment, we can be even more challenged because we neglect it and close our eyes about things which is really in front of us. But before we're going to talk about 12th house, let's see what lessons we learned from the 11th house, because 11th house was able to help you on tremendous level to understand what is really humanity, humanitarianism, how care for other people, and how to feel pain of others. Because don't forget, Pisces, you guys feel a lot of energy, you feel a lot of you're very sensitive sign, but many times one of the traps and not positive qualities of Pisces, they feel too much pain of their own pain, and it separate them from others to understand where the other people come in. So this is why 11th house able to bring you more awareness about the society, about a group of people, the associations with different communities, the friendship, because Pisces, they love people, but they don't like to be around people. Many times, Penseka, when you have a strong Pisces energy or 12th house energy, you love to be more behind the scene. It's a sleepy house, right? But this is house of international affairs. This is the house to understand other people mentality. So now then to go behind the scene and to stay behind the scene, it's not the way to go. So this energy of the 11th house of community, of humanity, it's the house of Aquarius. It's the house you sitting beside, you guys, before 12th house. It's extremely important house. The only way for you to understand the depth of the sea, the depth and the behind the scene of spirituality, you need to bring the energy of the 11th house. It's a happy house, by the way, which is sometimes is hard to be for Pisces happy for no reason. But let me remind you, Pisces, you, the only sign, which is the last sign of zodiac system, you are the nourishment of everything. You, the Malchut of Malchut, you, all other 11 signs, whatever they work, in order for you to use this energy. And you, the only sign who represent holiday Purim, which is the only holiday represent final redemption, Mashiach, and only holiday which is remain of the final redemption, with the collective consciousness will come to the place why in the first place we build this earth with the energy of the Torah. So for you, Pisces, it's extremely important period of time. You will be surprised. This Saturn return in Aquarius, you're gonna felt for you like a first house, because the 12th house, it's your own house. Therefore, it's gonna felt like you're going the transition of your own self. So keep this in mind. Pay attention to your health. Pay attention to your digestive system, to your colon system, to your spine, to your feet. I recommend this period of time to have a walk more than usual. Try to go more for walks to activate the energy of the feet. And to remind you guys, Saturn represents shoes. It represents Malchut. So it's really the energy of Saturn can really nourish Pisces energy. You need to work together with Saturn and understand how to sweet the Saturn. And the best way to sweet the Saturn to honor Shabbat, to understand the Saturday energy. Try to do something special. Study more on Saturday. Buy cake of flowers, especially for Saturday. And look what's happening here and learn the wisdom. Saturn, it's all about wisdom. And Saturn represents Torah, the tree of life, reality, the life organism. And what we have in Rahu, it represents your second house. And second house, extremely important for Pisces, because Pisces, they are sweet children. Usually Pisces in the early family dynamic, they everything what's happening home in the family, they observe like a fish in the water. They really trust the home environment. This is why many times they have oversensitive relationship with their mothers as well. So the second house is the house of materialism. So for you, Pisces, Rahu expand your desire for money. So you need to always learn what is really sustenance, what is the money awareness represent, what is the possession, and most important, self-worth, the inner security. This is something Pisces sometimes missing. While Pisces, especially female, one of the best businesswomen and business people, Pisces. Why? Because Pisces using the intuition when they're making big decisions, and it's really important. But in the same time, they need to learn how to balance with the mind, with not to be too moody, not to disappear if something not comfortable right away, to learn how to stay present, to be consistent. Very, very important. Okay, guys, I hope this information will serve you well and will improve your life, and with that will improve our society and to make a better future for us and for our children. And this is why we're here, to really bring this beautiful place, the Mother Earth, which was made it for us, and this whole reality. Everything what we experience is our own doing. So it's quicker we'll take responsibility, not from place of blame, but from place of care and place of superior, because we are walking gods. And I wish all of you guys, if you listen to my video first time, welcome, and I wish all of you guys Shana Tova, and I'm looking forward to interact with you through different videos. And if you want to have your reading, remember, I'm doing not just astrological reading. I'm applying the Kabbalistic knowledge, which is it's much deeper understanding, and many other tools I can provide you and give you homework, especially before the lunar nodes gonna change in end of October. It's extremely important for you to understand what is your karmic homework start from November. Okay, all the best, much love.